welcome to my channel. My name is JustClark, and today I've come down from my basement to finally help you stop suffering from Lineart. Alright, now the first tip that I'm gonna give you guys is something that's not actually related to drawing, but rather related to what you use when you're drawing, and that is your freaking tablet. And I've seen a lot of comments, I've gotten DMs of people asking me, what size of tablet do you use? I use this big of a tablet. Alright, it's almost as large as my head. It's not gonna talk about that, but anyways, the area that you use in your tablet is important. I only use like around this portion here, so pretty much when I'm drawing I can just move a little bit and it's gonna move around pretty much the same pace as I move my hand. The movement of the cursor would be one-to-one with the movement of your hand, and the way to do that is just go to your tablet driver settings, look up the mapping area, and then change the resolution that the tablet uses. So that's the first technical tip, but let's actually get into talking about the line art, and y'all getting a sneak peek of a future illustration. Look how lucky you are. Alright, but if you would like to see more, get more variations, go check out my Patreon. I'll also be dropping study sessions, practice sessions over there, so you can see how I learn, how I study, how I practice, and gain some insight with the thought process with how I go about my rendering. So just a quick pitch. Alright, now the first actual line art tip, which is pretty much the main tip, is to know the role of your lines. And what do I mean by knowing the role of the lines, right? The role of the line is to cut.
Clean up my sketch, right?
No, it's not the only role of your lines, and I will talk about 4, technically 3, but you know, I do 4 because I like the number 4. The first role of your line is called the contour line. Now you may be asking,
what is the contour line? Isn't that from makeup?
Nah, the contour line is pretty much the outline of your character, which is pretty much the lines that enclose your character, which is this line right here. And the contour line is going to be the thickest line. Everything else inside that, which we'll go into later, will be thinner. But I'm gonna give another example from my favorite artist, Minion-san. Obviously, y'all should know Minion-san. Alright, so as you can see here, I cannot show the other side of this one because it's I can't show it, but as you can see, the outline here, or should I say the contour line, it's pretty much the thickest line around here. It's clear. Look, see, contour line. Oh, can I show that? Well, whatever. Pretty much contributes to the overall silhouette and shape of the character, which is very, very important in character design, the silhouette. And I'm not gonna talk about that in this video because that's not the point of this video. But pretty much the whole outline and silhouette of the character, the contour line contributes to that. It's the thickest line and it closes everything. Now the second role of the lines, which are the lines that are inside the contour line. So these lines will be thinner and narrower than the contour line, because like I said, the contour line is going to be the thickest line. But the lines inside here, there are some rules that will still apply whether or not it's the outline or it's inside, and it's usually when lines intersect and lines meet. Say like this area here is going to be thicker, and lines go like this and you do this is going to be thicker. So the lines inside the contour line, they should be generally thinner than the contour line. How many times have I said contour line? Now the third row of the lines here is, you might have seen this earlier and you're probably like,
what? This is not the outline. Why is this thick?
Because the third row of the lines is to separate the elements, and to separate the elements that is with line weight. The reason why I went for a thicker line with the hair here despite it technically being inside the whole outline of the character. It's just to separate it from the body, because if I use the same line weight for, let's say, the collarbones here and the hair, they would kind of look merged together, especially when I drop the base colors in. Adding some line weight to separate the elements, which is the third goal of lines, is very important, so that when you're coloring, when you're rendering, and when you look at it, you can see that the lines have separated those elements well, because sometimes things just start to blend together. It just feels washed off. So the line weight really carries that separation of the element. And then the next question, when we look at this and you're thinking,
What? Look! This is the outline! Why is it thin? Why is it that thick? This is supposed to be the contour line.
well, my guy, that's the fourth role of the line, which is to show perspective. And also, going back to separating elements, we can tell that this arm is in front of this hair because of the line weight. And also, next up, like I said, is perspective. Because this hair is at the back, it's gonna be thinner. The line weight is gonna be a lot lighter. And we can see this as well in Minion Song's work over here. Look, this is thick while this is thin, because this area of the clothes is more at the back. It's behind the most. English. Applying that rule, I used thinner lines for areas at the back to show that perspective through line weight. So those are the four roles of the lines to change your life, which is the contour line, which is the outline. The details inside will be not much thinner, but you don't want them to be as thick as the contour line. Next up is separating elements with the line weight. So you can see this hair is clearly separate from this area right here. And then the last one is for perspective and using lighter line weight for areas at the back. And if I put something up front, let's say Ether is holding a popsicle at the festival, the lines would be thicker because it's much closer to us. Applying knowledge of perspective and composition, things that are closer to us we will see more detail, and things that are further away from us we will see less detail. And that's why you use thinner lines, because it kind of gives that idea that there's less detail. Now those are the technical stuff, those are the technical tips, but I have two mindset shifts that I did personally, because I struggled with line art as well. I kind of hated it before I actually grew to appreciate it and learn to do it properly, because passion for something and the love for doing something doesn't actually come first. Interest comes first, and then you work hard at it, and then when you get good at it, that's when you actually develop that actual passion for that. No matter how hard it is, you know that you like to do it and you want to do it, so that's when that true passion for like a skill or an activity goes. But the first mindset shift for me is that realizing the importance of line art keeps everything together. It pretty much keeps the character enclosed, but not in a bad way. It keeps the character tight and stable, pretty much, when you look at the illustration. Also, I'm dropping a time lapse as I'm talking, so you guys can see my process. You can see I struggle in some areas. I go over lines over and over again, but trust me, I am just enjoying the process. If you're focused on finishing your line art immediately, then your mindset is just going to be, oh, I'm just gonna do this as quick as possible. But if you're actually enjoying the process of line art, appreciating the importance of line art, you're more likely to focus on just the experience, on just the process. And if you're finished, you're finished, and you'll be proud to look at what you've done. So line art is like cleaning for me. You know, when people tell you to clean like your room or something like that, you're like, man, I don't want to fucking clean this room. Like, come on, bro. I got shit to do. When you do it yourself, when you're like, man, I need to clean. Oh, I want to clean. It actually is surprisingly fun. It's surprisingly calming. It's surprisingly enjoyable. And you're like, oh man, this feels good, right? Like, for me, line art is kind of the same way. You know, you have the sketch and then you go over it, you clean it up. And at the end, after you finish, just take a deep breath and you're satisfied and you're very, very happy with myself. So appreciate the importance of line art and understand the importance of line art. And I feel like pros, they can like skip all that, or maybe they can do it very easily or very quick, but I feel like the struggle is just part of the process. And if you're not struggling, then maybe you're not trying hard enough, you know, maybe. And then the second mindset shift that I did was this quote that I don't know if anybody said this, but you know, I made this up myself. If you're gonna feel miserable doing it, then stop. But I said this to myself when I found myself hating doing line art, and also as I get to understand and appreciate line art, I just think, okay, I know that I'm probably going to line every single work of mine that I plan to refine, and if every single time I'm gonna have to line a work, I'd feel miserable, why the fuck would I want to do that? So I just had to learn to enjoy it. I will probably never even finish a work anymore if I continue to just force myself to do line art despite feeling miserable. I wouldn't enjoy the process of drawing. So sometimes it's all in your head and you just gotta look at it at another way. So yeah, anyways, these are my tips to help y'all stop suffering from line art, because I personally did as well, just like last month, June. So things that I learned and also these mindset changes that I did, that's helped me, and now I'm enjoying line art despite it being still pretty tough. And if you'd like to see the final version of this, hopefully it will be up on Twitter and Pixiv. The stuff on Patreon and Pixiv Fanbox are just variations that I dropped there. If you guys would like to see those and would like to support me a little bit, I'd really, really appreciate it. And if this has helped you, leave a like, leave a comment, tell me how it went, tell me if you apply these things and how they help you. I would be happy to hear about that. And I'll see you on the next video. Yee.